On May 29, 2023, Malam Umar Namadi Dammodi was sworn in as the duly elected governor of Jigawa State, where he launched his 12-point agenda. Hello and welcome. My name is Idris Jibrin and this is Jigawa State in Focus. On this fresh edition or maiden edition of the program, we shall take a look at the Jigawa State Ministry of Agriculture to see the various achievements and developments that have been recorded under the administration of Malam Umar Namadi Dammodi. Note that the large percentage of the people in Jigawa State depends on agriculture. In fact, most people here in Jigawa State are farmers, which makes the governor very keen on agriculture. Hence, this episode of the program, the first episode of Jigawa State in Focus, is taking a look at the state agricultural sector, seeing the various developments that are being recorded under the sector.
The agri sector in Jigawa State is actually very robust because agriculture is the mainstay of the economy of Jigawa State. However, not without some challenges and needs for reforms initiatives to optimize its potentials so that it will achieve full potentials as a sector, as a driver of the economy of the state. So when we came, His Excellency has his agenda, 12-point agenda, which agriculture and rural development is one of the pillars of the 12-point agenda of the administrations. So when we came, we swing into actions to see how we can realize the objective of the administration in terms of agriculture. And the objectives are very simple. We're looking at food security, because if you look at the whole development indices, all the reports will tell you there is hunger in Jigawa, there is poverty, there is unemployment. So the objective is to see how we can address food security quickly. The second issue is how do we address the question of jobs? How do we create jobs? Because if you look at our demography, we are about 7 million people, and out of this 7 million, more than 3 million are between the ages of 25 and 35. That's a very young and vibrant population. So there is need for them to be gainfully employed, right? Then there is the question of, as a state, we want to see investments are derived into the agricultural sector because we want to move away from primary production to processing, primary processing, secondary processing, tertiary processing. So that will not only be a production center, but will also be an agricultural transformation hub in Nigeria and in Africa. So this will help the state achieve its desire of increasing its RGR. Because when you have industrial parks across the states, processing our own products, there will be guaranteed market for the farmers. They don't have to move away from their farms to other processing centers across the country. You get market at the back store. And that will also increase the economic activity in the states. It will help us grow our GDP. It will also increase the revenues to the farmers and also increase the internally generated revenue for the state. So that is the broad thrust of the agricultural policy. These three areas: food security, jobs, and increased investment that will lead to increased internally generated revenue. Of course, the more the money government has, it will increase its spending on social and development services to the people. When the administration came on board, one area the farmers that struggle a lot is access to inputs. The state government, when it came on board, it started with the subsidy, fertilizer subsidy. The state government distributed over 100 metric tons of fertilizers at a subsidized rate.
Part of our effort in that direction is to ensure that we have supplied input to the farmers at the right quantity at the right time and at a subsidized price. It is all known that agriculture is the mainstay of Jigawa State economy. About 80% of our people are farmers. And as a government, we must support agriculture. I will do everything possible to support agriculture by giving farmers all the necessary support. We will ensure that agriculture is mechanized. We will also ensure that we have provided enabling environment to expand irrigation in Jigawa State. In fulfillment of this, today we are launching the sales of fertilizer, which is one of the inputs required by farmers. This fertilizer, which is currently selling at 26,000 per bag in the market, we are subsidizing it by 38%. And we ask JESCO to sell this fertilizer at 16% to the farmers. 16,000 to the farmers per bag. This gives a subsidy of almost 38%. This is in our effort to ensure that our farmers has gone to the farm happily and they can be able to afford this fertilizer.
And then the government also introduced the concept of cluster farming initiatives in collaboration with the federal government. We're currently cultivating 40,000 hectares of wheat program. And we also vaccinated over 100 cattle across the states. We have also concluded arrangements to review and revamp agricultural extension in the state because farmers need to get access to the right information at the right time. So we are also recruiting 1,440 agricultural extension agents. We're also recruiting 300 mobile veterinary clinics. All these arrangements have been concluded. Test has been conducted. They will be onboarded into that. We are also implementing what we call Rice Millennia Project. The Rice Millennia Project is in line with His Excellency's desire to create more wealth within the agricultural sector. So we are now reaching 1,100 across 11 federal constituencies. So in line with that, we will select 1,100 youths, train them, provide them agricultural extension and advisory services, provide them with the input financing. When I say inputs, from land development financing, input financing, and irrigation infrastructure finances will be provided, has been provided actually by the state governments. So these are some of the things we have started with the agricultural sector. And today, His Excellency has commissioned a policy review of the agriculture and development of agricultural investment plan for the states. So that is what we are doing. And from the result we have seen so far, we have seen significant increase in yield, over 20% increase in yield in the last season, and we want to reach 50% increase in yield because farmers will get access to all the things they needed, right? We have also procured and distributed 60 tractors across the 27 LGAs so that farmers will get access to mechanization. So, and in the area of mechanization, the state has concluded plans to partner with John Deere and Tata Africa Service to create farm service centers. These farm service centers will provide farmers with access to all end-to-end mechanizations from the farm land development mechanizations, irrigation mechanizations, chemical crop production, chemical processings, and all what you needed as a farmer to be successful. And each center will be equipped with at least 42 tractors, apart from other accessories that would drive the process. So far so good as we can see in terms of the achievement and the administration is doing very well.
These tractors will work for the farmers at a discounted price. We are giving the farmers a discount of about 43% on whatever they are paying for the service of these tractors. This is to ensure that we have reduced their cost of production. We will also try to give the same discount when it comes to the inputs, and we'll also provide discount when it comes to all other periods, because we want the farmers to operate at a profit. We want the farmers to ensure that they get value for what they are doing.
And one interesting thing is that the agri sector is very keen to His Excellency.
Yeah.
Whatever request that comes for the agri sector, His Excellency is 100% committed, deeply committed to ensure the agri sector is transformed. There was never a request for agriculture that was not approved by His Excellency. So that tells you the level of commitment and the level of utilizations. So that is what we have achieved so far. But what do we have in plan? Right. Well, now we want to see leverage national programs and our own programs. We want to see irrigation doubled, right? We want to see agricultural processing centers established across the state, the cottage industries. We want to see substantial women and youth inclusion in agriculture. We want to transform agricultural extension services by deploying digital extension solutions, right? We are addressing the number of numeracy already on the extension side of it, because we have already concluded or recruited 1,400 extension agents. We are rebuilding the structures across the Jigawa State Agricultural Extension, Jigawa State Agricultural and Rural Development Authority, that will enable the state to have a very befitting area and working environment for the extension workers. The state also is providing them with means of mobility to be able to reach the farmers at the hinterland. So that is what we are planning to do. For irrigation in Jigawa, well, one thing I would tell you, we are adopting multiple strategies. Number one, we are using surface irrigations. We are rebuilding, rehabilitating our dams. We have about 10 or 11 dams. Plans are underway to review them, rehabilitate them, and put them into shape. And we intend to create at least 3,500 hectares of land, right? Through that rehabilitation. So some of them are medium to small dams, right? And we have about 2 big dams that we are looking at. So that is one, also to open more lands for irrigations. Also, the state government is trying to see how the Hadeja Valley irrigation project is doubled, in the sense that the current capacity is around 6,000 hectares. We want to see it reach 12,000 hectares in collaboration with federal government and Jigawa state government. There is high-level ongoing discussion that has reached advanced stage, right, to revamp the irrigation projects. We also have a number of schemes in the state. We have made adequate provisions to revamp all the irrigation schemes we have in the state. We have about more than 15 of them, right? Small scheme. We have the borehole-based irrigation schemes. Then we have the dams-based irrigation. So we are rebuilding all of them. So cumulatively, we wish to see, because there is only way you can address poverty in Jigawa and food security is through irrigation.
Yes.
Because that will enable you to double the production. Yeah. That means if you are producing, let's say 5 tons, if you produce twice, that means you are producing 10, right? And that will reduce the economic dormancy of our farmers. So reducing the economic dormancy, because what is happening is that post-harvest, we have about 8 months to 9 months before next production cycle, right? So that creates a gap because the farmer's capacity to produce enough food is very low. So that window will lead to a deficiency in the quantity of foods they have. because they don't have capacity to produce for whole year round. So now when you bring in irrigations, that will reduce the number of food deficient months that farmers would experience naturally. So there's huge commitment by the state government to push the irrigation to a greater heights. Okay, in livestock sector, the livestock sector have some fundamental challenges. One, the question, any livestock farmer is worried about feed, is worried about the animal health, is worried about security, is worried about market. So how are we addressing this problem? If you remember in my opening statement, I said we have department here in the ministry, veterinary services departments. This veterinary services department on yearly basis is carrying out routine vaccination. And that routine vaccination exercise prevents what we call zoonotic diseases. That is the diseases that are in animals that are transferred to humans. So, and that also help us to have what we call compliance with global best practices in prevention of the zoonotic transmission of zoonotic diseases. So annually, and I think last month, the state government carried out animal vaccinations. As I told you, we are targeting over 40,000 has been vaccinated, and the target is to reach 100 cattle, right? That's one. Two, there is a number of projects in the 2024 budget to pilot pasture production. That pasture productions will increase the availability of feeds to the livestock subsector. There is also a project we are collaborating with Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the World Bank, which is called LPRES. Under LPRES, there are a number of interventions that will address the needs of the, what do you call them, the farmers, the herdsmen, and other actors. And there's a strategic component that is looking at value addition. We want to see a situation whereby that we don't have to transport live animals from Jigawa in Megatri or the major livestock markets here to Lagos or Port Harcourt. We want to send to Lagos a finished products. It's Jigawa meat or it's Jigawa beef products, not live animals, with the risks associated on traveling live animals. And that will also enable us to have value addition here with meat processing centers. We are talking with Darul Al Halal and other private investors to see where we can achieve meat processing in Jigawa State. Remember, we have agro-industrial processing zones that is coming on, which we also have a Gagara agricultural and industrial hub. So we are looking at possibility of, developing the processing capacity of the state, right, with the private sector, not government-driven, private sector-driven investment that will address this challenge. So that's what we are doing with that. Then on sheep and goat, the sheep and goat program is continuous one. We are recently talking with CDI, Community Development Initiatives, and some Saudi partners to create an offtake agreement so that the Jigawa farmers will be supplying goat to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So that also would help us unlock markets for the farmers, right? That is why the state is investing in animal health so that we will reach satisfy global best practices in animal certifications and supply. Jigawa, interestingly, we are number one sesame producers and a leading producer globally. What we are doing is we are trying to see where we will have processing plants, not just cleaning. We now have cleaning plant, export processing zone. We have Gagarawa and Megatari export processing zone where the sesame is cleaned and then exported in a raw form. But the plan is to have factories that will be processing sesame seeds and associated products to the world, right? Because this is the production centers. We want to change from being primary producers only, but also to processing centers, so that we'll have cottage industries as well as large-scale investments that will uptake these products from farmers and process. So we are aware of the sesame, and potential in Jigawa, and we are leveraging that to create jobs. Because, as I said, the interest is create jobs. We cannot only create jobs by simply producing. We need to add value. That value addition will give us jobs. Just marketing will give us jobs, right? And that will bring more money to Jigawa State, more money to remittances may happen when we are exporting the capacity of our products, and that will also give the state more reputations globally, right? And even increase our standing in global metrics. When this government came on board, the wheat production capacity in Nigeria was around 60,000 metric tons nationally, and Jigawa was taking more than 60% of that production. So we were the leading wheat producers. So, and the total production was between 5 to 7,000 nationally, and Jigawa was doing around 5,000 production. So as I speak to you today, Jigawa is partnering with two private sector, government and private sector partner. We're doing 5,000 hectares of wheat production, right? That is our traditional capacity, right? And we also added 40,000 hectares of wheat productions. And the arrangement, the federal government provided all the inputs, but they said they are giving 50%. Now the state government stepped in and give 75% of the 50%. So farmers only contributed 25% of the subsidy that the federal government gave them. We're spending over 5.4 billion on that subsidy scheme, just for farmers to plant wheat. And I bet you, if you go around the state, you would see with your eyes the number of wheat fields farmers cultivating. So we're doing a lot in that area actually. Traditionally, Jigawa State has been a very good partner for development partners. For instance, our relationship with the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office of the United Kingdom is spanned over 20 years. Recently, the state government signed what we call Mutual Accountability Framework, is asks and offers by the parties involved. What is the ask? What is expected to be done by the Jigawa State government and the FCDO? So under that framework, today we commission review this, the FCDO, through its flagship programs like the Links and PROFCOM. Now under the PROFCOM Plus, the Jigawa State has commissioned Agricultural Policy Review and Development of Agricultural Investment Plans. This plan will detail how the state will prioritize its investment in the next 5 years. So that is one area. We're also partnering with the Islamic Development Bank in agricultural and rural development initiatives. We're partnering with the African Development Bank in special agro-processing zones. We're partnering with the World Bank in NGKs and NGKs Padamarazol area 2. And we're also partnering with the World Bank on the L-Press project, which is livestock-based interventions. So we are also open. We're also partnering with Syngenta Foundations on fruits and vegetable gardening. So there are a number of development partners, because one thing you need to know, Jigawa is number 2 in ease of doing business and number 1 in transparency ranking. So that put us in a national stage when it comes to doing business. And the development partners look at that as a basis for engagement with states. And that also opened up many opportunities for us to engage. And our government, the government of His Excellency Mala Umar Nubali, is very committed and passionate about working with development partners, because we work in an open and transparent manner. If you look at the indices, let me give you an example, like the rice production. We are arguably number 1 in rice productions. We produced close to 2 million metric tons of rice. And that is what we're doing is with 411 metric tons of hectares that are cultivated all year round. So when we are able to double our irrigation, that means we reach 800,000 hectares and that will enable us to produce about 5 million metric tons of rice. So that alone will help us to be able to reach more than 80% of the rice demand in Nigeria, which is between 6 to 8 million metric tons, right? So we produce over 1 million metric tons of sorghum and about 1 million metric tons of millet. So apart from others, so you can see when we increase productivity, it's doable. Jigawa can feed Nigeria because we have vast land. We have about 2.6 million hectares of land. Just do rough head estimations to tell you what we can do when we achieve increased productivity, and there is market for processing and value additions. We'll do wonders. If not even feeding Nigeria, we will be a very important stakeholder in food production. We are actually an important stakeholder, but we will be a top priority when it comes to food security in Nigeria. Like any other produce, agriculture also faces challenges. Number one, there is climate change. Climate change, we are struggling with floods. Farmers will invest money. Even government may spend money in infrastructures and farmlands. Then flood will come and wash away all the investment of people. Yes. So flood is a serious challenge. Then the question of epileptic rainfall. The definitive when the rainfall will be fully established, that also creates problems, right? And uncertainty when the rain will cease. So technically we're saying climate change is a big problem for agriculture in Jigawa State. There is also challenge of financing because agricultural investment like the irrigation infrastructure I talk about require huge capital outlay. So, and there's limited resources available at the state disposal to be able to, accelerate, right? The rehabilitations of irrigation schemes and dams. So we have limited resources to be able to do that, and even additional irrigation infrastructures. That goes back to our goal on the trust of our policy. We wish to see more food secure Jigawa. We wish to see more youths employed in agriculture. More youths, more women and youths employed in agriculture. We wish to see more investments in agriculture, right? More cottage industries, agricultural processing hub centers established across the states. We wish to see that there is no raw materials being transported out of Jigawa, but a finished product is exported to Jigawa. The state is having a special plan to do women in agriculture projects. Under the plan, there will be special considerations for women in agriculture to support them because the areas of food processing and value addition, as well as the productions. So we are looking at all angles to provide end-to-end support for the women in agriculture. We wish to see for every 10 farmers in Jigawa, at least 4 or 5 are women, or processors in Jigawa want to achieve gender equity in agricultural program and interventions. For instance, in our last interventions under FADAMA, we achieved 41% reach of women, and women were provided with practical assets like sheep and goat, poultry, chickens, and all other resources they need to produce.
Well, it's been very interesting looking at the various development that was achieved by the administration of Malam Umar Namadi Dammodi since inception here in Jigawa State. It looks like we should continue going with more and more and more of this development. But this is where we're going to drop the curtain of the program, and I shall join you next week with another fresh edition of the program where we will also go to another ministry or another sector of the state development to see the various achievements that are being recorded here in Jigawa State. I must tell you that a lot of things are happening here in Jigawa and a lot of developments are happening here in Jigawa. Once again, my name is Idris Jibrin. Thanks for watching.